Hello, everyone. After recording that Xenodex, which is just the regional variants of Pokemon Xenoverse, I thought it'd be good just to go through the rest of the decks. It doesn't seem to be a lot since the Xenodex ended at. Oh, this is. No, this is the same video. At like 120. So I thought I'd go ahead and wrap this up, hopefully sometime soon, so then I can start on the next decks and see how that goes. Let's try and find out. I'm back at the video. Let's start off with Pokemon number 1. Okay, so I have seen this mon before. Shyleon. Grass Fairy. I said this in the deleted section where I couldn't find any information on these guys. So, hey, this is much better, honestly. Shyleon absolutely represents grass, but Fairy I'm having a hard time with. I think it's a cool idea to have a chameleon mixed with, I don't know, plant matter. Chameleons hiding themselves from their prey, a mask hiding themselves from, I don't know, its peers, which is kind of interesting. I didn't realize how this claw also kind of looks like 3 digits instead of just outward 3 claws. A little strange, but I guess a chameleon needed something to stand out and be a little bit more aggressive. Oh, I also didn't like how the mask was connected with a rope. If you're going to have it integrated in a design, you should really be careful about in what way it's incorporated. Cubone, originally it's ambiguous whether or not the skull itself is its face. It's only an additional reading that most everybody knows at this point that you realize it's more of a helmet. And then, yes, there were different forms. There were different forms for all of these Xenoverse Mon, and I got very confused about what all that meant, because this is still number 1 Shyleon, but if I'm remembering right, this is terrestrial Shyleon? If you're going off the same premise, it looks fine. It looks more like a middle evolution, or even a final evolution. Still, I don't understand where Fairy comes in, but it almost floating on its tail with wings, I get that a little bit more. You don't need to saturate with pink, but the wings, the eyelashes, the tail, and the position it's in, floating, that it works. Maybe you would see this as flying. In fact, I think I would see it more as flying than fairy. But it's an interesting body proportion, too. It's more rotund at the base, which you don't see a lot for a lot of starters unless it's supposed to be wide, kind of like Venusaur Torterra. And then I don't know what... Was this Astral or Probably Xenoverse? I don't know. Shyleon. Very different. I could totally see this being the 3rd stage, still with its face covering up, and the tail has become the whole body. There's a very small line if you follow the tail to evolving this, but I'm not going to treat it as a line because it seemingly doesn't want me to. Maybe this is going the whole Digimon thing where they're vaguely related. But overall, I think the design's pretty cool. I don't think grass works because of the spine leaves, but fairy I don't see at all. I would see maybe poison more because of the bright colors and the dark coloration. I love what they did with the tail. It is very original, and it kind of looks otherworldly how such a thin end of the tail could hold up so much weight like a potted plant. And I absolutely adore the mask, covering the face, keeping it more ambiguous and kind of a mystery. Still, Shyleon. But then incorporating that into the top canine teeth, fantastic. And then, I love a good mohawk on a Pokemon. That looks fantastic. Okay, I don't remember this at all, but this is an interesting way to blend the first Shyleon and the latest one that we looked at. It has the first one's face and the last one's body without all the frills. It looks special. Looks like it's either psychic or possessed with its glowing eyes. Trishout. Oh, nope. Two-faced. So Trishout. Fire sound. This always strange to me. I could see Trishout being sound, but I can't see its design being sound. Maybe if you made the end of its tail more of a tuning fork, I could understand it. But with this positioning, I can't see anything else that would maybe indicate that other than an open mouth, which half the Pokemon have anyway. I like it, though. It's a small lizard. It has a very Charmander body, but it's more of a bird-like head. And I'm a sucker for birds. And the spines on its back is a little interesting. Usually for a baby form, you don't see such pronounced body modifications. Unless it's something around the eyes. Like this eye shape I could see. The back shape, the spines usually come in at the later stages. A little strange. And then Trishout terrestrial. So yes, it emphasizes the back blades more and changes up the eye shape. Interesting. But this looks like a mix between Charizard and Charmeleon, very much to me. It's not quite the Charizard shape. But I like the burning head too, that's pretty cool. It's got the same thing where the top jaw is also kind of melded with the faceplate helmet thing that's going on there. It's a very simple design, but there's elegance in the simplicity. Just the pure shapes help this creature stand out by its own. This particular head shape, it's almost two hemispheres when it comes to the face and the jaw. It's not jagged or has interesting horns. It's almost like a ball that opened up to form a mouth. And to mix it up, they added a strange eyepiece to double as teeth and kind of hook with its jaw. I'm a big fan of this. Trishout's terrestrial, cool. So this Trishout kind of has smokestacks for its back. Maybe that's a nod to an energy supply to help it fly. But again, its helmet and jaw are kind of mixed in with its teeth. In fact, this one actually has teeth, strangely enough. They completely, inverted the coloration. Heck, it didn't even have blue before. I'm not sure where that came from. Maybe there's something in the game where outer space is blue. I still like the plates that form some kind of defense, but I'm not seeing much in the way of fire. Maybe if the billow smokestack spine was shooting out smoke, or maybe if these little holes at the tail were shooting out smoke, creating an interesting, fluffy design for such a sharp creature. That'd be a fun thing to have. Alters Trishout. Okay, so this is just the blue one that's possessed. I get a slightly better look at the spines, and one seems to be white when the base Trishout didn't have a white. But it's roughly the same layout from what I could tell, just a different position. Shulong. Okay, water dragon. I can see the water completely. The little frills on its hair is meant to look like frothing water. Just the light blue and the white really hint at water. But the dark blue does seem a little out of place, along with the black that could almost be like teeth around its cheeks. Dragon is, well, and now sound type is going to be very hard to show off in a creature design. But I don't think it's bad here. You can see water, but then there's something knacking in your mind, like there's some other type here. And for dragon, that's pretty good. Let's see what... Ooh. I haven't seen the "why don't you come and try me" pose or in any Pokemon, so I like that. It looks very pissed off, and it kind of has the Goku hair. I think dragons, the club tail, the spiked limbs, the sharp head, I completely get it. Trishout probably could have been dragon too, because it's so lizard-like, but then again Charizard isn't. The coloration, especially on the head and feet, still show some sort of water or maybe ice. I'd probably guess ice if I saw the standalone creature, due to the shape of the head spikes. But the body just kind of reminds me of Snorlax, and I kind of like it. It's just Snorlax. He's a big boy. And then I can't tell if these are thumbs. These might be thumbs. Thumb spikes. That'd be an interesting idea. Just go up to a creature. I'm just more surprised with its expression. It's not often you see something so angry, especially in this pose. There's no possessed version. Okay. Wait, okay, maybe there is. This is just completely different. Okay, it's still water dragon. I think this is the best dragon so far, because it almost looks like a wyvern if it wasn't for the feet. The webbed claws is a great indication of both dragon and water, both so it can fly, and the turquoise showing off that it could be water. But usually webbing's more associated with water, so in this hugely green design, it hints at that. The tail has almost become sort of a club. I don't know, I think this would be my starter if this was the final evolution. I still don't know how that works. But the brown and green is an interesting combination. I can't think of another Pokemon that would have that. Green and brown? Maybe a bug type? But this does not look bug at all. I think I'm most impressed with the hands. There's such a focus because they take up so much of the screen. And it's such a simple design of webbed, spiked fingers that portrays both types. That's a very admirable feat to pull together the focus and the typing in basically one feature. And then the coloration is just good. With the feature having its own specified color, I feel like that's where my eye immediately goes. If not the face, which immediately with a curled body, you follow that around. Which when you follow that around, you can go from head to neck to the claw, or still down here, which kind of tilts up to the claw, or following through to the tail. The tail has less saturation though, so that's the final one that you'd go through. You'd go at least from the head to one of the claws, which interesting. And I'm glad that they have this little scarf, armored scarf around the neck to break up the design, because the belly is very basic, which it needs to be for these claws to stand out. It's very simplistic, but I like it. I like this one a lot. Okay, there's the evil form, which shares the coloration of the final. Spark Owl, otherwise known as if Natu and Fletchling had a baby. Electric flying. The brown on the upper part of its body is interesting. It breaks it up a little bit. Birds will always portray flying type, but it could almost be a normal bird and the next one be an electric. If the yellow wasn't so pronounced and covering almost 50% of this drawing. Probably more like 30, but still, it's hefty. Very happy burb. I can't think of much else to say because it really just looks like Natu, especially with the body proportions. Shock bird. I like what they did with the little electric around the mouth. Instead of it just becoming the face, they separated it into like armored cheeks, kind of like Haxorus, but it's got a very Articuno beak and headdress. Is that what I'm saying? It's got a much fluffier body and head, which helps to balance out the electric sharp angles. But then this is where I'm starting to really like the brown. The brown is a good mix between being too dull like the black or too saturated like the yellow and the eye. It helps balance out the coloration and gives it more personality, because if it was all whites, then it'd be bland and boring. It would need a third color, and yeah. So I see why they had it in the previous evolution. No, is this a 3-stage? Yes, it is. And the full face mask yellow is back. Again, I think the brown was working better for me than I would have thought. The cloud-like neck fluff, very indicative of electric, with it being such a dark color, and the bright, almost mohawk, electric mohawk coming out of the crest of its head. I like the previous design more. This one's too on the nose when it comes to electricity, but I also kind of like how it's almost a reverse, like mini thundercloud with a lightning flowing upwards. Other than that, it's a burb. It's a regular burb. Its standout feature being its super long head. Yemen. Normal fighting. Is this our Pikachu clone? Because it's got the ears and it's got the coloration. I'm not sure how it's normal. Fighting, bright red pants, high kick pose, determined face. Yeah, no, it's a fighting type. But normal. I think I would have made the body more of a gray if I was going to go for normal. Unless its evolutions are more electric. But having such a vibrant yellow on a normal creature, that's strange. This is better, though. See, it's like a white instead of a gray, but normal fighting, still fighting pose, red pants, determined face. But then most of the body is now a white, showing both like an old master's robes, withered from fighting because it kind of trails, which I think is supposed to be fur, but still it kind of looks like a weathered robe. But then the face just looks like it's trying to mimic a human face, being a different coloration from clothes. I like this better, but I'm still... Like, if this is the first creature, I can understand. Then they wanted to have, like, a shirtless young kid. I could see it. Mascot. Like a mascot maggot? Mimicking Charizard? That's a very cool idea. It's got, like, the whole bug thing where it's mimicking eyes and the shape of Charizard's head. I'm curious about where the other types will go. Presumably there's going to be fire, water, and grass. And it's going to be a split evolution coming out of the ground. I wish I could have seen a tail. The tail also could have been an interesting way to wrap in the inspiration once again. But with a Pokemon that's meant to blend in, having very minimalist features that emphasize what it's blending into, that's how you should do it. But I like the little variance of having the body almost like the Charizard is covering it like a shawl. Oh! Ghost style. This time we got a Gengar in the exact same position. It's interesting how it's not just the starters, but so far Charizard and Gengar. And Weavile. These are some very strange choices. I will say, if you didn't know who Weavile was, this would be a very strange Pokemon to have ice typed. I would think poison. Yeah, no, that's... that might be more of Weavile's design. But, again, for just mimicking a Pokemon, that's... I like it. I like the little mix-up of Mascot almost having, like, a hair ornament. Is there more? There is Heracross, and it's supposed to be fighting? Again, if you know Heracross, it wouldn't be hard to understand. But otherwise, maybe you'd think it would be dragon with that coloration, because I don't think you would expect it to be pure bug. Wait, is there one for like every typing? That'd be hilarious. That'd be hilarious. Dark, and it's Houndour, I guess. No, Houndour has a helmet for its head, so this is Houndoom. If you're a bug, I guess you wouldn't want the curly head. You'd want something that you could also dig with. All of these are just the top half of a recognizable Pokemon. And I kind of like it. I like Weavile, I like Houndour and Houndoom. Charizard, eh. Heracross, eh. Gengar, yeah, I like Gengar. Now I'm just curious if they did all the typings. Ampharos. Oh, and a little, like, angry Ampharos. Okay, I feel like I can blitz through some of these. Braviary? For flying. Okay. Bulbasaur? Venus? Some of these are taking the designs and just making them more recognizable by not copying them, which is a fun thing to do. Must have been a real pain. Bowl cut's kind of funny. Scyther. No. So Tyranitar. Tyranitar is so basic, but I thought it was Scyther because both of them kind of have the same head shape, but Scyther's defining feature is its arms, and I would say Tyranitar's would be its body. So this one threw me for a loop. I would have thought grass. Bug grass. Okay, I did need to look that up. Bouffalant. I'm not as familiar with Gen 4, which I think that's where it comes from. Now, maybe that's more recognizable for people who actually played Diamond and Pearl whenever they came out. I'm glad that they have the different generations love. It's just a little strange. With Bouffalant's, its defining features like its big, almost afro, or big neck pelt, whatever it is. Making that into just bubbles. It works because you're trying to convey a Pokemon cosplaying as another Pokemon effectively. And you want it to be recognizable enough for the viewer, which, if I played Gen 4 more, I would get that. Beedrill. So Beedrill for poisons. It's so strange to see Beedrill without its little pointers. And then Magcargo for ground. Again, they look so simple without some of the defining features, don't they? You don't have Magcargo's big volcano back. The pincers. Steelix. Okay, Steelix, it just looks like Steelix. I guess if you were going to go for any Steel-type Pokemon, you'd want to go for Steelix. Then you got Blastoise, which again, without its turrets, it's strange. Hypno. Hypno for sound. Okay, no, I get that. Its almost pentagonal nose really gives it away. So this is Kadabra. It has no spoon. That was kind of hard, but the little whiskers, that gave it away. Dragonite. Okay. Again, if you didn't know Pokemon, I wouldn't think this was Dragon. It looks too friendly. But if you do, you know it's Dragonite. So you should know what typing it is. Snubble? Or Granbull, sorry. Granbull for Fairy. I like it. Some Gen 2 love. My favorite generations are 3 and 2. In that order. So, I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, okay. Bremond. Vocalist. Okay. So Ghost Sound. It's got a skull motif with its inner shirt having the cutout of like an upside down heart for the nose socket. Its whole head and headdress is a musical note, an 8th note. And then it's in a position that an opera singer might take. Oh, and the other hand behind its back. Oh. Yeah, pretty good. I probably would have laid off the spiked collar a little much. Lower that a tiny bit. But I guess if a bird's singing or chirping, it does have that space. It's an interesting detail that I would not have added in. I don't know if it's better or worse without it. And then the big floofy tail, I'm a big fan. Bremond's guitarist. Now this just feels like Digimon. Where one can be so many different looking creatures, I don't think I like this. But the guitarist, electric sound, so an electric guitar. It's got the David Bowie like little electric bolt on its stomach. I like it. The offset ears could be reminiscent of the head of a guitar. The whiskers almost like strings of a guitar if they were shaped into that. And having it be a cat, I guess that works. I don't understand if there's a better reasoning for that. I guess right off the bat, I'm not sure if I would have understood sound. Maybe if you did something where the strings were attached to the body in some sort of way instead of hanging out the side. Bremond's bassist. So you don't see its eyes. That seems to be the regular. This one striking like a bass or guitar player pose. Stomping its foot? No, I absolutely see sound here. Dark. It has such dark colors. Hair covering the eyes. Interesting how this one's, I guess, a mule or a horse, but bipedal. And then the tail just being so long for a horse or mule and ending in something that I think would be akin to a flat sheet of metal. I don't know what these little nubbins are. Overall, I like the design, and the addition of this bright pink everywhere helps brighten everything up instead of just having a black mass that's, in my younger days, I tried to emulate. Bremond's drummer. Oh! And what is that, like a... Is that called the Taisho drum? Tomoe drum. And then having it be a dog! Why is it a dog? Fighting, I can kind of see it. It looks like it's ready for something. I do enjoy the idea of just a dog using sticks as a musical instrument. I could see it after a long tour, long performance. Drumming on itself, throwing it out into the crowd, going, "Oh no!" running after the sticks. A very rotund dog. And I'm not sure how the organs would work. If it's supposed to be an echo chamber, how would the organs work exactly? But, oh well. And a very interestingly round face for a dog. And the symbol on its head, I like it. I guess that's why they drew from Asian symbolism, so that it could have a hat and a symbol all in one. If this is the last Bremens, I will go one further. Take a quick peek if there's an evolution after this. Yes, there is. This is a 2-stage. Papillion. Looks like a ragdoll puppet. Psychic and dark. A puppet I can absolutely see psychic, because if it's supposed to be animated but an inanimate object, that seems a little strange, a little mystical. And then the pink to emphasize that. And then dark, it's kind of hovering its face, it's got a sad expression. Maybe you'd start to think about the life of a puppet in Pinocchio, which is a darker tale. The ragdoll hat helps emphasize that too. Like it's downtrodden, hasn't had the best life. Maybe turn to something. Turn to the dark arts. But yeah, no, overall, very simple and elegant design. I find that Xenodex is doing very well for these. Hanged. Hungaed? Hungaed. I have no idea how this is supposed to be said. Again, psychic, it's still that little puppet. I don't think if it wasn't for that one little strand or part of hair that's floating up in the air, I wouldn't understand what was ghost about this. If the last one wasn't ghost, I don't expect this one would be either. I would still expect this to be dark, even with the light colors added on. Definitely seems to go a little evil. Its nose grew longer, which is interesting. So maybe it did turn to something darker and became a ghost. So it went from dark times to possibly death. It'd be an interesting Pokedex if Xenoverse had one. But the peg legs are cool. They're very cool too. So, I'm gonna cut it off there. Might as well. I reached a good endpoint. I didn't want to stop in the middle of that, like, mascot line. That was very strange, but I like it. And yes, I do believe there was one for each type, which, that's some dedication. Not even Eevee reaches that, and not in one game either. So, very much like that. Some of the other designs, oh man, there were so many. I do like that normal fighting. I just find the coloration choice to be interesting. I still like the shock bird. That was nice. Ooh, yes. And then Shulong's Xenoverse, whatever, the green dragon form. Yes, I absolutely like it. That is probably my favorite design of this whole thing. Let me double check, because that one... yeah, no, that's probably my favorite design of the whole thing. So far. Ooh, but that... okay, Shulong in general seems to be my favorite out of the starters. But very interesting design so far. It very much seems like my era Pokemon, Gen 2 and 3, where it's simple designs, but very well executed. I find that Gen 1 is often too simple, and I'm not as big of a fan. Once you get to Gen 2, you've got Houndoom, the Phanpy line. You get a little bit more detail, so I tend to like it more. But stay tuned for the rest of it. At this point, I've started the Xenoverse decks, and, well, might as well continue and finish. Hope to see y'all later. Have a good night.